games news.
Should we get to that game news?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool.
I don't feel like there was
Let's do it.
tons, but again, we've got some next-gen console news.
Breaking news. Sony reveals the PlayStation UI.
Hot damn.
Wow.
Hot damn. It just shows up how starved people are for next-gen news at this. I mean, yes, new UI, it's always exciting. It's always nice to... It's like when the new Windows comes out. It's like fun for an hour and then you just swear at it because you can never find everything that you're used to.
Good Lord.
But yeah, I guess... I wonder if it's because, like, I mean, the Xbox Series X is going to have the same UI as the Xbox One X now. They actually just updated it with their new UI.
Yeah, they just updated it.
And it's good. It's fast. It's simpler. It's whatever. But like maybe it's because like the PS5 will be a complete overhaul. People were more excited about it. And I mean, it looks nice. Yeah. It looks cool.
It does look really nice.
It's got some good features. Let me see if I can find like a quick rundown.
Of it.
Of all the big features.
I've got an article from the PlayStation blog.
Okay. Oh no, this is a video.
I don't know if that's got.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go through that PlayStation blog there. Yeah.
So, with less than a month, with deeper immersion that quickly connects you to great games and a passionate gaming community. Wow.
I love a passionate gaming community.
The new UX introduces several new features designed to make your gaming experience more fun, engaging, personalized, and social. Ooh. Wow. One of the highlights is a new... Yeah?
No, I know one of the big things is like it always tries to keep you in-game as much as it can. So like when you boot up the console, if you had a game running in the background, you're immediately back in that game. When you press the PlayStation button... I mean, on PS4... Whenever you press the PlayStation button, it took you back to the console's main menu.
Straight out of that menu, yeah.
This time it brings up, like, I think what they call it in the command center, like it overlays over the game.
Control center.
Control center, that's the one. And you can do all sorts of things from there. So I think the big thing there is cards. Cards are like, they can show trophies or achievement, like progress towards... your next milestone in the game, like how far are you till the end of the level, or how far are you to beating the game, and all these things. It seems like this is all content that needs to be created by the developer of the game that you're playing, so that the card knows information that it needs to pull up, which to me is the real big sticking point over this whole UI. It's got these cool features like, yes, you can bring up a guide to help you through a portion of the game if you're struggling, or like these cards will help direct you towards certain trophies or show you progress, but all of that needs to be, the developer needs to make sure that that's in there. So it's up to the developers to support that. So I just wonder.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to.
I mean, first party for sure,
but
definitely. But like, depending on how much extra work it is, I don't know. Like, I don't know how fleshed out they'll be.
Yeah, look, I think, like, I don't know. I'm not the person doing this sort of admin work, whatever, but it seems like it's very doable. Like, it's a matter of assigning resources to, like, go and map out the quest, for example, and gauge how long it is to do. But yeah, it is extra work at the end of the day. And like you said, AAA shooters will probably do it. But if you're like a 5-person indie team, like what are the chances that you're going to sit and do that just for PlayStation if your game's launching on every platform, for example?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Sony is like mandating it, because it is in their best interest to have the card system work. I think it would look really poor if they have this whole thing that is baked into their UI and then it's like barely supported. So Sony might say at the bare minimum you need to have this many things so that we can at least populate something on the card system. So I don't know. I think that feature's awesome. Like, I think it's
very I think it's very cool.
I think it's awesome. I'm just I need to know more about how it works, but there are other parts of the UI that I think are just like massive improvements of the PS4, like
joining a party.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Joining a party without being booted back to the main menu. Like, you can do it in-game.
Yeah.
Like, thank God, finally. You can accept invites to multiplayer games also without leaving the game. You can do this weird picture-in-picture thing, which I think might be really cool for streaming. So essentially, I can send you a feed of what I'm playing, and you can put that on your screen. Like you can have a little box on your screen that shows my view.
Yeah.
And then you can have a little box elsewhere that shows like your camera, if you're using the PlayStation camera to stream.
Yeah.
So like think about...
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, think about cooperative games. Like Sony, in my view, is really thinking about how people are going to create content from the PlayStation 5 itself without, having to reroute through a PC and, set all that up. So like if we're playing something, say The Division 2, and you want to overlay my view while yours is front and center, like you can do that from the PlayStation now, which I think is really cool. I don't know how much I will personally use that, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I can definitely see how a lot of people are going to end up using this in streaming. Same thing goes for screenshots. You can now take screenshots and edit them without leaving the game. Screenshots will automatically be tagged with spoiler warnings if the PlayStation thinks that it might, be a spoiler. Obviously, that won't prevent people from just uploading them to Twitter, but at least on your friends list, you won't see things accidentally.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty overall really nice UI.
Yeah, I think it's
system,
sleek.
Operating system.
I think
what is the right term?
I think it's
UI.
I think it's it really shows how they want to keep you in game, so much so that it was only really at the end of the video that they showed the home screen. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it was oh right, the home screen still exists. Like most of what they were showing was like
there.
just in the
just
game.
In game.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I'm curious to play around with it because it looks nice.
Yeah. Likewise. I hate the existing. I think both consoles there. Look, hate is a strong word. They're both functional. But like just simple things that we mentioned earlier, the fact that you can just join a voice party without having to leave the game, like, oh my god, yes, please.
Yeah, it's like
so
I like the PS4 UI because it's snappy,
4.
but man, it is cumbersome to use. It's really not great. And even that little control center that you bring up on the PS4 is not like, it's handy here and there, but 9 times out of 10, I'm still having to dive back into the actual main menu, and it's obtrusive. So I'm glad that Sony is like, yeah, we get it. So we're fixing that. You. Yeah. So that's cool. There is one thing that Sony didn't really mention, but I don't know. Again, this comes down to like the way they communicate things versus Microsoft. Like they said, there doesn't seem to be a quick resume feature like there is on Xbox, where you are basically saving game states to the SSD and then being able to cycle through games. But they did say that you can transition between games within like less than 5 seconds. But that doesn't make clear if it's like, oh, am I cold booting into a game in 5 seconds, or am I just resuming where I was? You know what I mean? Because like, if I can transition between games in 5 seconds, that's great. But if it's booting up to the main menu every time, it's like, yes, then it's I'm not saying it's bad, but it's very different from what quick resume is. And
I mean, but when it comes to load times, they did also have that there was a Spider-Man video going around.
Oh yes,
like,
yes.
Here's the load times between the old Spider-Man and with Miles Morales, and it's just incredible. You finish a enemy hideout, you just leap out of that place.
Yeah, there's no load screen to transition in and out of that hideout. It's just, I think Miles just shoots through a vent and he's outside again. It's so cool. It's
a good time.
That SSD.
I love that video.
Yeah, we also got to see Spider-Cat, which is really, really cool.
Oh my gosh! And the memes that came out of that. Wow, this is
I cannot believe there's like Spider-Cat. Like, it's cool that there's a mission where you save a cat and the cat's name is Spider-Man, which is really funny to me. But like the fact that the cat then forms an integral part of a costume and then joins you in fights is just amazing.
Chills. I know, but also the fact that it just chills in the backpack.
Yeah, it's
so
and
good.
then like there's these like slow-mo shots of the cat like jumping out and scratching enemies' faces. It's
But
I love
the
it.
memes that have come out is like, give this cat its own game.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Oh my god, I'd play. Forget Spider Ham. I want Spider Cat. Or like,
Oh, it's so cute.
oh god, although, yeah, actually, no, I'd play a game where you're swinging around as a cat. I think that'd be awesome. That'd be great.
I mean, it's going to be canon, right?
Yeah, it has
they
to
have
be.
to make it now.
Spider Cat is canon now.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Just quickly,
I'm busy looking at the video now.
just quickly on quick resume. Microsoft, I think they mentioned this earlier this year, but it's come up in conversation again during this week. Quick resume, a lot of people look at quick resume and they go, I'll never use that. And on the one hand, like, I get it. Like, how many games are you suspending and switching through that feature makes sense? On the other, I think it's one of those features where when you use it, you'll like kind of not know how you lived without it type of thing.
Yeah.
Like if I have 3 or 4 games in rotation over a week and I can just swap between them easily, that's pretty cool. But the big thing, to me, that Quick Resume does that the PlayStation 5 doesn't do is that it keeps the states of your game even after your console loses power. So
yeah, that's quite a thing.
That to me is a huge thing because, like, obviously, if you have a power trip, the way I understand it, I can't foresee a way that the console knows quick enough that it's lost power and saves the state immediately. But depending on how many times it saves the state to the SSD periodically, you might be able to restore back into the game without loading up the game, to where you were and maybe lose a minimal amount of progress. And that's just cool because if you can cold boot your console and be right back into the game, I compare that to the Xbox One X takes forever to load up after a cold boot and the PlayStation 4 actively shouts at you for doing that.
Oh my gosh.
It's the fucking worst. Like, I hate it.
You did not shut down. And listen, we're not just being nitpicky. We live in South Africa where load shedding happens
constantly,
quite regularly.
Yeah. So like the idea of the power tripping or going out suddenly without warning is a very real thing that we have to deal with. So like this might not seem like a big deal to most people, but I tell you now in South Africa it's a huge fucking deal to just have.
Well, I'm tired of my PlayStation shouting at me.
I hate it. It takes forever to boot up, and then it screams at you with the beeps, and it's like, don't do this. And you're like, okay, fine, it wasn't my fault.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And then you load into
Shit,
it again,
man.
and then it takes a while to like rebuild your external memory, and it's such a pain. It really is just such a pain. So yeah, that to me, I look at the Xbox and I'm like, that's cool. That's a feature I wish was on the PS5. But hopefully it doesn't shout at you anymore after it
Please
loses
don't.
power.
No more shouting.
Yeah.
Okay, but
what else?
that's PlayStation news. What other news do we have this week?
Marvel's
yeah, you
Avengers.
Being delayed.
The next gen versions have been delayed into 2021, and the arrival of its first bit of DLC, the Hawkeye, Kate Bishop is delayed until next year as well.
I mean, wasn't that supposed to be out? I mean, okay, now I'm calling a spade, but it was meant to be out this year. But wasn't Kate Bishop meant to be out like now, October? Or was it November?
I think so. I'll be honest, I haven't kept up with Avengers because like I just could not care less anymore about this game. Like I have no desire to go back to it. I didn't even finish the story. I just think it was boring. Like
here's a quote. With this in mind, we've decided to push Kate Bishop's operation launch back a bit out of October. So I think it was this month. Yeah.
It was
okay. So I think she's been delayed, but I don't know if that's delayed till 2021. Maybe she'll still come by November, December.
Maybe before the end of the year. I mean, yeah. I feel like that's what that game needs because like all the new characters are free, which I think is a good move. But like having a new character might actually inject some life back into this game because there's been reports of the game like bleeding players, especially on PC. Like it's like below 3,000 players total on PC.
Is it on Steam? Just as a matter of interest.
Yes.
Marvel's Avengers.
It's causing havoc with matchmaking because there's not enough players in a region playing. And yet it's the 7th best-selling game of the year, because I think...
I know. Just so wild.
I think it's... But that to me shows how bad the state is in a worse state. It's not the fact that people didn't buy the game. It's the fact that lots of people bought the game and lots of people have stopped playing, which is a huge problem for a live service game.
Well, looking at Steam charts now, the 24-hour peak on Marvel's Avengers was 1,887.
That's bad. That is across all of PC. That's hell. Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, compare that to what's Destiny's 2 24-hour peak on Steam. Now that it's transitioned to Steam, I'll let you find that.
Destiny 2.
Because people give shit to Destiny 2. Like the community itself gives so much shit to Destiny 2. But Bungie seems to be the only live service game, that and maybe GTA Online, that is kind of like consistently kept alive. You know what I mean?
Well, Destiny 2 24-hour peak 62,000.
You see, like.
I mean, and that's now, like in the last day alone. All-time peak is 300,000.
It's chalk and cheese. Like, it really is.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of... Now you've got me down this rabbit hole. I want to see Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, God, no. Grand Theft Auto Online must be in the millions, I think.
Can we just remember that Grand Theft Auto came out on the PlayStation 3, and it's still
wild.
Going strong.
It's...
24-hour peak, 105,000. Yep. So it's not like miles higher, but it's still very high.
Yeah.
I mean, geez,
and that's all. The majority of that is GTA Online. Like, it has to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like when Destiny 2 launches their new expansion in November, those numbers will soar again. And Avengers not having the same numbers as Destiny is one thing, but like just breaking 1,000 is bad. Like, it is so bad for a game
shocking.
that is structured like
2,000 versus 60,000. It's like...
Yeah, no, it's... So yeah, I mean, Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix can say all they like, that they believe players will come back and whatever, but I have to imagine this is a bit of a crisis mode for them, because they're pushing this back. I mean, they launched in a turbulent year, yes, but at the same time, it just seemed like playing that game, I was just like, there's no incentive for me to stick by this. I mean, I didn't even finish the story. I didn't even get to end game stuff, and it seems like the end game is really where it just kind of collapses. So
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have to believe that it's the Avengers franchise. It's Square Enix. I don't see them letting the game down. I don't think they will. I mean, it could be one of those things where it's terrible now, but give it a year and it is a Destiny 2. Because, I mean, we have to remember Destiny 2 it wasn't this bad, but a lot of these live service games tend to start out poorly, and then they just get better with time because they're live service. They get better based on feedback and whatnot. But I suppose the big question is, will Avengers bleed out before before it can fix itself? It really is
feeling like an Anthem more than a Destiny in that regard. Destiny had its problems, but even through its problems, people were still playing. Anthem, people stopped playing, and this seems like the same
what's
thing.
happening with Anthem? Isn't 2.0?
Yeah, but I mean, every time they talk about it, they're like, "Yeah, we're still a while away." I think Anthem is going to go through a big relaunch, and that's going to be the game's make or break moment. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, just on that, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because we're on next gen's doorstep.
Yeah.
Now, do they do the smart delivery thing, for example? Like, hey, we fixed the game. You can pick it up on.
You're talking about Anthem?
Yeah. Like, do they let people pick it up on the next gen console?
I'd imagine so.
Because I can't imagine it being the other way.
Yeah.
Like, we fixed our game. You got to buy it again. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that would be absurd. Like, if EA is like, 2.0, $10 patch, it's like, fuck off.
Like, come on, what is this?
Yeah, my God.
Okay.
Other news
do we have?
We have Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There were a bunch of previews that came out this week. Like hands-on impressions. The game's out in like 3 weeks anyway, or 2 weeks.
Good lord.
Game seems weird. Like, I'll let people read previews because I don't want to spoil things, but there's some side missions shit that I read about that is like, what the fuck? Like, it's just bizarre, like really bizarre. But the biggest thing, sort of like an eyebrow raiser to me, is that the default setting for the game has you switching between the male and female Eivor throughout the story. And Ubisoft says this is integral to the story they're telling. So sort of the setup here is that they are saying that the Animus or whatever the fuck doesn't know whether Eivor, the protagonist in Valhalla, was female or male. So it swaps between them during the story. And like, while I can understand that perspective, I'd find that super jarring to me.
Yeah. That's an interesting.
That's the default choice. You can change it to be strictly one or the other, but that is a bizarre choice to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm quite curious to see how this game pans out because, I mean, who is the director? There's a whole lot of drama. I've just gone blank now. I've just gone. The name's gone from me now. Yeah, but now, so like he left a couple of months ago.
Yes.
So like it's quite a. I think obviously the game's in its final stages where they're just polishing and whatnot, but it's kind of weird to lose your big director, like so close to launch. So I do wonder how that's affected the final game and what the final game will be, because for all intents and purposes, Origins and Odyssey like really corrected the ship on Assassin's Creed. And Odyssey itself, like people are still playing that big time. They love Odyssey. I don't know how Valhalla will stand up against it. So I'm quite curious to see.
I'm like curious to play Valhalla, and every time I see gameplay, I'm like, yeah, that looks good. But at the same time, there's just some things about it like this that I'm just like, oh, that doesn't make much sense, but okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping Valhalla is a bit more focused, because I know one of the big criticisms of Odyssey was like it took Origins, which was already a game with like tons of content, and just made more, and it just feels overwhelming at times. Like,
yeah, it's too much. It's like The Witcher 3 on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. So, that really depends on how you play the game as well. But at the same time, I think focusing on a breadth of content like diminishes the quality of the content that's there as well. So I'm hoping they found a better balance between the two in that regard. So yeah, I'm curious to play.
So we'll see. What other news? It really feels like it was a bit of a slow news week.
It was, yeah. There's version 8.0 on PS4. The big update.
Which broke. It
broke some friend lists and party chat and stuff. I think the big thing here for me, because most of it's like small changes, the big thing here is that two-factor authentication now supports third-party apps. It's no longer you can configure it so it's not just an SMS, which is Jesus about time, because two-factor authentication via SMS is so insecure. It's so like it is the worst way to do that sort of thing. So being able to link it up with Google Authenticate or something is finally A+.
It's a big deal. Yeah,
it's a big deal. So yeah, I would suggest everyone take a look at that and change it to a third-party app. It's just much better.
You're forgetting the biggest part of this update: new NAC avatar icon.
Oh shit! Really? I didn't know that.
So important, man.
Gotta love. Where's NAC 3, man? Where's NAC 3?
NAC 3. Give us NAC 3.
Some small other things. Ghost of Tsushima on PS5.
Oh, that update came out.
Oh yeah. So firstly, that update came out that introduces the game's multiplayer. I haven't tried that. I'm kind of curious to try that. And it's free, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's a 9 gigabyte update, but it adds what's it called?
Stuff.
Something Legends or
like some co-op mode called Legends.
Yeah, some co-op mode. So that's cool. But on PS5, developer Sucker Punch has said that it will reach 60 frames per second with the PS5's boost mode. Which, damn.
Nice.
Yeah. And apparently the load screens will be greatly reduced, which is cool.
Instant.
And hopefully it won't make my console sound like a jet engine, because that's legitimately one of the reasons I stopped playing that game. I just couldn't
You know what I was playing this week that didn't really get to talk to. I suppose we'll cover it next week. Is Crash Bandicoot 4.
Oh yes, yeah, you started that.
That I played that game, and let me tell you, the game, it looks cool. Okay, it's a pretty looking game, very colorful. That game is not graphically demanding though, by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. Like compared to Ghost of Tsushima, my PlayStation was in orbit. Those fans were spinning.
It's
even Lenska was like, "Is the PlayStation okay?
Is it going to be okay? Does it need surgery?" Yeah,
I was like, "I think it's fine. I hope so."
It's a fucking nightmare. I cannot wait. It's like up there on my most excited parts of like next gen is just a quieter console.
Just quiet, please. But my thing is like, every console starts out quiet. My PlayStation wasn't noisy when I got it. But in the long run, can it just stay quiet? Please?
Oh, but the Pro was loud from day one. It just got progressively worse. Like it was like obnoxiously whiny at first, and then God of War came, and then it was like, oh, cool.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, that was the first game where I was like, I think my PS4 is gonna break, and then I realized. Then everyone started talking about it, and
that's how it is. Yeah. So should we leave the news there?
I don't think there's much else. Just like very quickly, Sonic is in Fall Guys.
That words out of my mouth. I was just gonna say, hang on, before we go. There's a Sonic skin in Fall Guys.
He looks so cute. I love it. Although because there's like a seam at his stomach, it looks like a mouth. It's
so funny.
Or he looks like a Kinder Joy egg. It's very confusing.
I love it and I hate it at the same time. Got to go fast.
It's very confusing. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, the last thing is that Call of Duty on PC finally got an update that allows you to install only the parts that you want. So you can install just Warzone or just multiplayer or just the campaign, so that you can cut down some of that install size because it's so ridiculous.
I mean, when you're going from 231 gigs to 168 gigs, that's quite a
big jump. Chunk. Yeah, it's a big
But the
jump.
fact that the game is still 168 gigs, I refuse to believe that. Does Warzone have one map still? One big map?
I have not played Warzone in a while, but I think that's the case.
Okay, and I suppose there's the multiplayer as well. But I'm like, how does that game tally up to 168 gigs? Like, I just can't.
Well, it was 250.
Wrap my head around it. I mean, but you're cutting out the single player portion now.
Yeah, and it's still 160. It's I don't know. Those high resolution gun skins, man. It's what it is.
It's crazy.
Cool.
Okay.